He skipped one pizza a week for 30 years and ended up with more money than his own boss. $50. That's it. Less than a bad dinner. Less than one tank of gas. And yet this tiny number quietly rewired an entire man's life. This case study represents real financial patterns and real-world data. So before you scroll away, ask yourself this. What if the smallest number in your budget is actually the biggest secret of your life? Meet Daniel, 32 years old. Average paycheck, average apartment, average dreams. The kind of guy you'd never notice in a coffee shop. Daniel earned around $58,000 a year, right near the U.S. median household income of about $83,000, but as a single earner, he was firmly middle of the middle. By every measurement, Daniel was doing okay, and that okay was slowly killing his future. Daniel worked in logistics, 9 to 6, sometimes 7. His salary looked fine on paper, until reality took its cut. Rent ate roughly 32% of his income, groceries another 12. Transportation, insurance, phones, streaming subscriptions he forgot he even had, another 25. By the end of every month, Daniel had exactly this much left over, almost nothing. Sometimes $20, sometimes negative. And here's the painful part. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't stupid. He was just normal, which in today's economy is a dangerous thing to be. At 28, Daniel made a decision that felt harmless. He got his first credit card, and then a second, and then a third. By 30, he was carrying around $6,600 in credit card debt, which, by the way, is almost exactly the U.S. average per cardholder in early 2026. His interest rate? A cheerful, soul-crushing 22% APR. And he was doing what most people do, paying the minimum. Here's the shocking part. If Daniel had only paid minimums on that $6,600 balance, it would have taken him roughly 50 years to clear it, and he'd end up paying more than $50,000 in total. 50 years for one debt. Does that make you slightly uncomfortable? Good. It should, because odds are someone you love is doing this right now. Let's zoom out. Americans collectively owed over $1.25 trillion in credit card debt in early 2026, according to Federal Reserve data. Trillion, with a T. Meanwhile, inflation in mid-2026 was still hovering around 3.5%, which means every dollar sitting still in a savings account is quietly losing value. Now here's the twist most people never realize. The S&P 500 has averaged roughly 10% per year over the last 3 decades, around 7% after inflation. That's not a promise. That's just history. So here's the question that changed Daniel's entire life. What happens if a completely average person, earning a completely average salary, uses this completely average math for an above-average amount of time? It happened on a Tuesday. Daniel opened his banking app, saw his balance, and laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was tragic. That night, he stumbled on an old finance book at a used bookstore. $3, coffee-stained cover, and inside, one sentence hit him like a truck. You will never out-earn your bad habits, but you can out-invest them. Daniel read that line 4 times. Then he did something small, almost embarrassing. He decided to invest $50 a week. Not $50 a day, not $500 a month, 50 a week. The kind of number so small your friends would laugh at it. And that was exactly the point. Daniel didn't do anything exotic. No crypto moonshots, no day trading. No get-rich-quick nonsense. He opened a simple brokerage account and set up an automatic transfer into a low-cost index fund tracking the S&P 500. $50 a week is $2,600 a year. Over 10 years, based on the S&P's long-term historical averages of around 10%, that could grow to somewhere near $44,000. Estimated, because markets are never guaranteed. After 20 years, based on the same average, closer to $165,000. Same $50, same average guy, just time. And after 30 years, roughly $494,000. Almost $500,000 from money he wouldn't have missed. Based on historical averages, not guarantees. And here's the part that will keep you awake tonight. If he'd started at 22 instead of 32 by 62, the same $50 a week based on the same average returns could have grown past $1.3 million. That's not a fantasy. That's just compound interest doing its job while you sleep, argue, scroll, and complain. Now let's be honest. Daniel's story isn't magic. It's math. And it comes with rules most people ignore. Lesson 1. Your income isn't the problem. Your habits are. Most people don't have a money problem. They have a leak problem. Lesson 2. Time is more powerful than talent. A boring investor with 30 years will almost always beat a genius investor with 3. Lesson 3. High-interest debt is the enemy of your future self. 22% APR isn't a loan. It's a slow-motion robbery in a nice envelope. Lesson 4. Automation beats motivation. Daniel didn't rely on discipline. He relied on a setting. And lesson 5. The one nobody wants to hear. Nothing changes if you're waiting for the perfect time. The perfect time was 10 years ago. The second best time is this Friday. So here's what I want you to sit with tonight. Not tomorrow. Tonight. If a completely average man in a completely average job with a completely average salary could quietly build a life-changing amount of money from just $50 a week, what exactly are you spending yours on? And more importantly, 10 years from now, when someone tells this exact same story about themselves, would you rather be the person watching the video or the person in it? $50. 1 week, one decision. That's it. The rest is just time doing what time does. If this made you uncomfortable in the right way, stay right here. The next story I'm about to tell you is even worse, because it's about the person who did the exact opposite of Daniel, and what happened to him will genuinely disturb you.